Hello everyone and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing and overview of this unique new chassis from Corsair. This is the Carbide Series Air 540. Here's a quick look at the retail box. This is a high airflow mid-tower case. So Corsair's gone with a pretty unique design. You'll notice it's got a wider stance and they've sort of reconfigured the way that most of your components will fit in there. Direct airflow pass, so this is designed for air cooling. Specifically, it includes 340mm Corsair Air Series AF140L fans and low restriction fan covers and dust filters. I did want to show over on this side we have detailed specs as far as the contents go. Material is steel, plastic, and acrylic. For drive bays, you get a couple 5 1/4 bays, 2 hot swap 3.5-inch bays, and 4 2.5-inch bays. Here's the cooling solutions that are included, as well as mounting locations. Here's all the radiator mounts. You'll notice there's tons of radiator mounting options on this case. Also PCI Express expansion slots up to 8. This does support eATX motherboards as well as ATX, micro ATX, and mini ATX, and then of course USB 3.0 headphone mic and all that good stuff. Let's go ahead and get it out of the box. So the Air 540, as you can possibly tell, features a dual chamber design. So the right side here is separated. There's a bit of a spacer here in the center where the motherboard tray is, and then the left side here is where most of your heat generating components will go, and you'll also get a good view of them through this massive plexiglass window that we have. I'll peel off the plastic for you so you guys can get a better look at that. So motherboard goes in there, as well as of course your video cards and everything, and then on the right side over here is where your 5 1/4-inch bays will go, as well as some 2.5-inch drive bays in there, as well as your power supply, which mounts back there at the back. This will all make sense soon, I assure you. Okay, here at the back we can see we have some thumb screws right there, so that's for getting off either side panel. You also have 240mm Corsair fans right there at the front, as well as another 140mm fan here at the back for exhaust. You'll also notice that you have, of course, your knockout there for your input-output shields. 8 PCI expansion bays right there. Some added ventilation, so some hex grilling here at the top as well as over here on the side. And that's for the main chamber here, and then a ton of grilling here over on the side for your secondary chamber there, where most of your add-ons and stuff go. Power supply mount is down here at the bottom. It is rotated vertically, so bear that in mind. And then you have an inlet right here to provide some airflow into the power supply. So you would typically want a power supply with one of the fans that's on the top or the bottom mounted right up there, so it can pull air in and get fresh air to that. While I'm over here, let's go ahead and take a look at this expansion area. So by removing the thumb screws, you can pop off the side panel right there. Pretty basic side panel. It's got kind of a little bit of a textured matte finish on there. And let's just go ahead and take a look here at these panel areas. Now you might notice we have some cabling down here at the bottom. The 3.5-inch bays, which are actually on the opposite side of this panel, they're over there with the heat generating components where they can generate heat that will be dispersed by all the airflow. But you do get a couple cable leads going from that, so serial ATA as well as a serial ATA power as well as serial ATA data coming off of that. 2 of those, of course, for your 2 3.5-inch drive mounts. So you can route those around, plug them into your power supply and to your motherboard so that those hot swap functions will work. Also down here at the bottom, you have a mounting point for your power supply. It supports power supplies up to 200mm in length. And there's a couple thumb screws with a bracket located right down there at the bottom, so you can remove those thumb screws and back the bracket up to whatever length your power supply is. And then you got some metal stands right there that the power supply sits on to keep it a little bit raised up off the bottom of the chassis. This is a pretty cool device that they have right here, which I believe pops out, if I recall correctly. Yes, it does. Okay. So this is a plastic cage for your 2.5-inch drive bays, and this is a pretty cool design, actually. It's stackable right here, so you see little prongs there. You can actually pop off each individual cage if you do want to remove them. And then for 2.5-inch drives, you simply slot the drive in right here. It keeps the drive spaced out a little bit, so it provides a little bit of extra airflow, which usually isn't a huge deal for 2.5-inch drives, but it does allow you to use, for instance, those 90-degree angled connectors on there without conflicting with the drive right below it. It's a toolless design, so you pop the drive in, this little catch will snap into place, hold the drive there, and then just release and pull the drive out if you want to remove it. So there are your 4 2.5-inch drive mounts. And then you can also see another cage which is located right up here and that is for your two 5¼ inch drive bays for optical drives. I would point out one thing about this orientation is that if you are looking to do water cooling in this system, and you do have a reservoir that you want, like a double 5¼ inch reservoir, that might make it a little bit more difficult to install it right there. But it does give you optical drive mounts here for optical drives or fan controllers, anything else you might want to plug in right there. And then you have your primary connection points here for front panel and whatnot, which are tied up. Let me just loosen those. And that gives you a 20-pin USB 3.0 header for the two USB 3.0 ports on the front. This is a HD audio for the mic and headphone, and then your standard front panel connectors here, such as power, reset, and LED. Since I'm talking about front panels, I realized that I didn't actually go over these specifically on the front, so I want to point those out too while we're looking at them. Two USB 3.0 ports right there, microphone and headphone jack, power button, reset button, as well as a hard drive activity light. And then also up here on the front, you'll notice, of course, some grilling right here. They've tried to keep the grilling pretty loose to promote plenty of airflow, of course, for the fans that are located right below it, or right behind it, I should say, and then the Corsair logo up there on the front. So now for a look at the interior of the main chamber, which is where your heat generating components will go. Removing a couple thumb screws, the plexiglass side panel comes off. So look at the opposite side of it. It gives you a really complete view of the interior on this side. So first off, you might notice a little box of accessories. These are your two 3.5-inch drive bay mounts, and the box is right now doing what a 3.5-inch drive would do. Mounts up right there, and then you'll notice the two hot swap back planes right there. So after popping your drive in, it will connect with that, and then if you've wired that up, you will have your drive installed. While I have the accessories right here, I might as well take a closer look. They've provided you with some zip ties, some fan mounting screws, as well as the necessary mounting screws for the motherboard itself, which already has the standoffs pre-mounted. So there's a look at that. You can also probably see your expansion bays over here. Again, 8 of those in total, since this board does support eATX motherboards. They'll have black thumb screws, which are holding the expansion bay covers in place. Up here at the top, you have one of your included fans, the AF140L. This is your exhaust fan right up there. At this point, you also have some radiator mounting options. So if I flip around to the back, you'll notice they've provided a grill back here for some protection, but there's your 140 mounts as well as your 120 mounts. So if you did want to go with a radiator solution, you could pop that fan out, do a 120 or a 140 right there. Also, there are fan mounting options up at the top, which hopefully you guys can see. There's a bit of grilling up there. It comes with no fans mounted, but up at the top there's several mounting points, as you can probably see, and that will allow you to mount a 240mm or a 280mm rad, so 2x120 or 2x140 up at the top. That also has a removable cover, which I'm going to show you guys when I finalize this video or finish off with the top and the bottom. Also up here at the front, two more of those AF140L fans. These are airflow optimized fans. So again, what these are going to be doing is pushing air directly onto the hottest parts of the computer, which would be the CPU, which would be right in this area, and your graphics cards, which would be right in this area. And Corsair has told us that by placing the fans right there, having direct cool air blowing over them, it's given them some of the best air cooling numbers that they have seen. But apart from the pre-mounted fans that are up there, you also have front fan mounting solutions. You can actually do a 280mm or 240mm right up there at the front, or you can even do a 360, so 1, 2, and 3x120 will fit up there at the front. So lots and lots of of radiator mounting options on here. And I should also mention that if you are going to go with the top one, there's a little over 3 inches of space up here too. So if you were going to go with a push-pull configuration or something along those lines, you could. Apart from that, of course, the interior is completely painted black. You have grommets right here, rubberized grommets, a couple at the top, and then 6 more along the right side over there. Those are going to help for cable management, and you'll push those through back into the opposite side where you have the most cable management space that you will ever have in any case ever. Well, maybe that's not a final statement, but there's tons of cable management back behind there, and since back there you will have non-heat generating components, that's not really a big deal. 3-pin connections here for your Corsair AF140L fans. Also, you can see some punch outs here for cable management tie downs. in the back, and that pretty much wraps it up for the interior. Let's take a look at the top and the bottom and those removable filters. All right, some final looks at the outside of the case. This is actually the bottom we're looking at right now, so you do have some sturdy rubber feet as well as some spacing down here at the bottom, so that's going to help provide a little bit of extra airflow, I guess, to the 3.5-inch drives at the bottom. Now, we have a solution here for removing both this top protective cover as well as the front one. You got to remove the top one first. It simply slides back like that. As you can see, again, they've gone with nice wide spacing here, so you have plenty of airflow through this. Again, no fans mounted up here at the top. If you do want to use it in the mode in the way it ships, you have plenty of airflow with the included fans, but this is where you might go with a radiator mount. And since I've popped that off, here's a look at the top so you can see all those radiator mounting positions as well. Now you notice the front item right there, which is now also available to be removed. So I'll finish off with that. You just give it a lift, it pops off again. Here's a look at both sides of that. Got a metal grill and a plastic housing. It has sort of a matte finish to the plastic on the case. It's a little bit of a soft touch. It's not rubberized, but it does have a nice finish, and it's fairly fingerprint proof as well. Now this is a removable magnetic dust filter, I should say. And this is actually one of the only dedicated dust filters on the case, but as you can see, it pops off nice and easy. And since this is where most of your air intake is going to be, you just simply pop that off, give it a bit of some canned air, or go over it with a vacuum or something like that. Get all your air cleaned out, and that'll help keep your case nice and dust-free. And then, of course, one last look at the 240 millimeter intake fans there, as well as all your mounting points here for 280 millimeter radiator, or again, 3x120 or 360 millimeter radiator mounting points. And that is going to wrap it up for this unboxing and overview of the Corsair Carbide Series Air 540 mid-tower computer case featuring Corsair's unique dual-chamber design. I'm Paul with Newegg TV, and if you enjoyed today's video, you should hit the like button down there, you should subscribe, you should share it with your friends. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on Newegg TV.